Reporters on the Run. Alex Jones and the GCN Radio Network.
I can taste dirt in it.
God knows what's in this.
These people just sampled City of Austin tap water straight from the faucet. Next, we had them try a sample of tap water filtered through the ProPure G2.0 filtration system.
That one is better.
Tastes like nothing.
Yep, I know what good water tastes like. It's good water.
Most tap water contains added substances like fluoride, chlorine, glyphosate, and many others. Studies prove that these substances are linked to an assortment of major health issues, including tooth decay, lowered IQ, and even cancer.
It tastes like you're drinking out of the lake when you're drinking tap water.
The ProPure G2.0 filtration system removes these deadly substances, leaving only fresh-tasting, deliciously clean water.
Okay, this is very tasty.
It's good water.
Refreshing.
It's good.
Go to InfoWarsStore.com today and get your free wire stand with the purchase of a ProPure Big Water Filtration System. Or call 1-888-253-3139.
I've always believed in nutrition and herbs. Super Male Vitality was developed to activate your body's own natural processes instead of using synthetic chemicals. Sourced from powerful organic herbs, harvested around the planet, and then concentrated for maximum potency.
I just received my Male Vitality about 3 days ago, and I must say, that is good stuff.
After consulting top doctors, nutritionists, pharmacists, and others, we have developed what I believe is the ultimate non-GMO organic Super Male Vitality formula. Super Male Vitality by InfoWars Life is so powerful that I only take half the recommended dose.
I jump out of bed ready to fight these criminals every day. I look forward to waking up and taking my Super Male Vitality and getting the day started.
It's not just the Super Male Vitality. All the products at InfoWarsLife.com are simply amazing. Visit InfoWarsLife.com today to secure your Super Male Vitality and other powerful products from InfoWars Life. Alex Jones here for Infowars.com. In the month of July, we have got giant specials on everything at Made in1776.com. The already discounted Made in 1776 t-shirts are only $17.76. We have the new belt buckles that in only 2 weeks of sale are very close to selling out. There's only 500 of each. We're talking about Made in America belt buckles in nickeled brass. This is more than a summer blowout special. This is a new declaration of independence. But to expand the InfoWar, we're offering the equivalent of more than 5 months free right now when you get a membership at PrisonPlanet.tv for a limited time, only $39.95 a year. That's more than 5 months free off the regular price. Not just this July 4th weekend, but the entire month of July at Made in1776.com. Molon Labe, you can take my gun from my cold, dead hands.
If you are receiving this transmission, you are the resistance. Live from the Infowars.com studios, it's Alex Jones.
Wayne Madsen's our guest. I'm Alex Jones, your host. Look, here's where I stand on Israel. It has become a political football issue where you'll get 100 Palestinians that are killed or 5 Jews that are killed, and you'd think it was the end of the world, and it's all anybody talks about. I mean, I think it's an important issue. It's terrible. It's horrible, but it's manufactured compared to everything else going on is my point. You got 15 million people, the UN admits, they're the ones that got it banned, 15 million people a year that die of malaria. Another 20 million children that starve to death each year, another 20 million adults or so. You've got ISIS killing 300,000 people in Syria, non-radical Muslims, Shiite Muslims, Alawites, and mainly Christians. And they're doing it all over Iraq right now, funded and armed and commanded by British Special Forces and others. It's all come out. We know the camps where they were trained. I told you this years ago. And my issue is I'm sick of everyone setting my agenda. I mean, you go to the comments on Infowars.com, it's like a battle in there. Israel's perfect. Israel's the devil. On and on and on and on and on and on. And Alex, you know, you work for Israel. Or Alex is an anti-Semite, doesn't like Israel. And my whole issue is, my biggest criticism with some of the Israel lobby is that this is the manipulation of our domestic politics. And a lot of the Israel lobby supports socialism, gun control. I don't like foreign governments involved in our policies. That's what I criticize with Israel. The Palestinians, you know, I'm sad for them. They're having a lot of kids. And I don't know how they live in Gaza. I don't know how they live in a desert by a beach. And you notice Egypt won't let them in. You notice Jordan is on the verge of getting overthrown by those folks. So, I mean, it's kind of like Latin America borders. And people say, well, Israel doesn't have a right to exist, blah, blah, blah. Look, I understand it was put in there as a colony and as a military base. It's political by the British Zionist, and their reason was different than the Jewish Zionist. It's a disaster. And my point is, it's not one group in Israel. It's not one agenda. And it's the same thing everywhere else. I mean, you got the Vatican involved setting up the EU, and you've got the EU trying to come into countries and basically restrict what the church can do. It's all these big power structures that get built, and then all these people fight over it. That's my view on it. But I'm just, you know, there's other things other than Israel in this world. Or people that want me to say the Vatican runs everything. Or people that want me to say, I mean, I just criticized the Protestant Christian Zionists who don't look like Protestants I know. And then you've got you've got the Vatican promoting gun control in this country and open borders, large sections of it. I mean, I've got a lot of issues with all of this. I mean, I actually study what each country does. Wayne Madsen, you've heard the gestalt I've thrown out here, just what I'm thinking about here, what's in my heart. It's a mess and a tribal fight that I don't have a dog in, is what I'm saying. And there's a bunch of different propagandists involved, but I don't ever hear all these Israel bashers saying one word about Saudi Arabia and ISIS, because they almost always endorse anything Islamic. I mean, it's very bizarre. And then meanwhile, I see no anti-Israel criticism of Netanyahu tacitly endorsing ISIS last month. And then when I criticize that, they go on YouTube and say, shut up, Israeli operative, we're going to kill you and all the Jews. Well, they use a different word for it. And I'm not even Jewish, but then I say, fine, if you are obsessed with me being Jewish, I am Jewish. You see what I'm saying? I mean, I am so sick of the mental illness, the shallowness of the public's political understanding.
I agree. You know, I've written at length about the connections between Saudi Arabia and Israel, and they're historical connections, especially between their intelligence services. And you're right. The Israel Defense Force has been coordinating its operations, especially around the Golan Heights, with ISIS. We know that. And they have, and because the common enemy is the Shias of Syria, the Alawites, who are a Shia sect in Syria. That's Assad. The Shia government of Iraq, and the big tamale of them all is Iran, and you know, and they want us to actually get involved in a war with Iran. That has been their goal. That's been Netanyahu's goal. Remember, he showed that stupid Wile E. Coyote bomb at the UN General Assembly. Oh yeah, where he drew this line across. This, yeah, here's where Iran is, and this is where they're going to be, and it looked like one of those Wile E. Coyote Acme bombs, those round bombs. And you know, what a ridiculous thing that was up there. But you know, really sort of juvenile propaganda. But you know, it's quite clear that the two problem countries are Saudi Arabia and Israel. They work together. They want to keep the status quo going.
Well, I mean, it was supposedly Saudi Arabia and Al-Qaeda that attacked us. Why did we attack Iraq? It was a secular country. I mean, it's just the public needs to stop being so stupid.
After World War I, yes, the Brits, the French created these artificial states of Iraq and Syria. And after World War II, we had to put these strongmen in charge. A series of them. Saddam Hussein was just the latest one, and then Syria, Assad, and then his son Hafez.
And isn't he an angel, even though he was terrible? that the CIA put in 1979, wouldn't he be considered an angel compared to ISIS?
Oh, absolutely. You know, I mean, it's now should be clear to everyone that because we created these states, these artificial states, and we wanted to keep those borders intact, we had to keep Saddam in power, and Assad and Gaddafi in Libya. That country's fallen apart.
What happened to the CIA and the power structure that they went from trying to put stable regimes in and water systems and let the population, you know, go to college and control it, but they had some basic freedom, to trying to put Al-Qaeda in, blowing up every church, slitting women's throats, mutilating people, crucifying Christians upside down, trying to overthrow the Egyptian government and put in I mean, it really is like a Jacobin French Revolution craziness. What happened at the CIA? I know it's been bad since it got set up in 1947 with the National Security Act, but my God, it's like a James Bond supervillain now.
Oh, it's not even. I think it's. They have no adult supervision there, because I think of Brennan, guy like Brennan. He's like a knuckle dragger. He probably did kill people when he was in the CIA Clandestine Services Division. But yeah, there's another agency. I found an interesting letter at the Truman Library just a week and a half after John Kennedy was assassinated in Dallas. Hoover wrote a column saying, let's get rid of the CIA. We got to really reform. He said it was a big mistake for me to create that agency back in 1947. Now, why do you think Harry Truman would have said that when everybody else's mind was on the recent assassination of President Kennedy? I think President Truman knew the CIA had something to do with that.
He probably knew ducks quack as well.
Yeah, right.
Well, I mean, it's just that the old elite at least wanted stability and prosperity because they could cut a bigger skim off the top. This elite really does want to screw everybody over. And my dad always told me that. He said, you got to watch not just even the average criminal, but there are people that would rather screw you out of $1 than make $1 million with you. But he said those were usually low-level scumbags like Benny Blanco from the Bronx, to use an analogy, a parable from Carlito's Way. Now it's the elites act like mentally ill deviants.
But they profit in times of conflict and warfare. A number of these elitists made money off both the Allies and the Nazi Germans during World War II, and the Japanese. And I think remember, Rahm Emanuel's favorite line was, never let a crisis go to waste. And I think we're seeing that.
So they've been getting away with it so long, they just have bravado, chutzpah, arrogance. What's the proper term for it? Hubris.
Right. And remember the fear that they had after the Berlin Wall fell and the Soviet Union collapsed, when peace was breaking out around the world. Notice how that, and then old man Bush, 41, had started talking about a new world order. I think that was the code saying, look, we've got to be able to handle this new situation.
And remember how they tried to prop up the so-called reformer Gorbachev?
Yeah. Well, he turned out to be, a total joke. And here's a guy who walks hand in glove with people like George Soros today.
It's truly disgusting. I mean, isn't it bizarre that George Soros can be a Nazi collaborator, rounding up people and finding where the Jews were hidden? And
he's the perfect James Bond villain. You mentioned James Bond earlier. I mean, Ian Fleming should have met this guy, Soros. Maybe he did when he was younger, and maybe he met his dad, who was equally as complicit with the Nazis in Hungary.
Well, I mean, look at how Madeleine Albright relished attacking Serbia, who had saved her and her dad.
Exactly. Also, she had stolen artwork that was purloined from her father out of Prague that he took through Belgrade on his way to the United States. And, that family...
So it turns out they'd been double dealing with the Nazis.
Oh, them too. Yeah, sure. I mean, maybe, they have this constitutional amendment that only... presidents and vice presidents have to be natural-born citizens. Maybe that should be extended to the Secretary of State position. That would eliminate people like Madeleine Albright and Henry Kissinger, who did a lot of damage, let's face it, to the Secretary of State position. And also maybe throw in the National Security Advisor. Then we wouldn't have had guys like Zbigniew Brzezinski in there.
Well, when you look at Albright and Soros and a lot of these people, These are Jews that escaped Nazi Germany with a piece of the horde because they were managers over Jews.